Waste is everyone's business. We all produce waste in everything we do. From ancient times, it has been human tendency that anything which is of no use is thrown out of the house onto the streets. In the same way, even today, whatever solid waste is generated in the house or in the city is dumped anywhere on the ground. About 20% of our population lives in cities and produces tons of waste every year. Besides, a large quantity of waste is generated in villages also. In most of our cities, this solid waste is dumped on the outskirts, in open pits, or on uneven land. When this pit is full, or the land becomes even due to waste filling, another pit or uneven land is searched. This practice has been followed for years together. Occasionally, this waste is burnt or compacted. Until recently, the disposal of municipal solid waste did not attract much public attention. With the increase in population, the problem of generation and disposal of solid waste has become enormous. Most of the approach roads to our towns and cities are littered with multicolored plastic bags and other garbage. Huge heaps of solid waste are burnt unscientifically. Such heaps receive visitors like rag pickers, dogs, cattle, pigs, birds, etc. They pose an environmental threat and are hazardous to health. To address this problem, modern methods of solid waste management are required. This includes planned scientific collection, transportation, and safe disposal of solid waste. Methods of disposal such as landfills, incineration, and reduction at source can be adopted according to the volume and quality of solid waste. Any matter, whether solid, liquid, gaseous, or radioactive, which is discharged, emitted, or deposited in the environment in such a volume, consistency, or manner as to cause an alteration of the environment, is called waste. In simple terms, we can say unused, unwanted, or discarded material in any form is waste. In fact, it is very difficult to define waste because it is a relative term. The concept of waste is also changing with development in science and technology. The things which we consider as waste today may become a resource tomorrow. On the basis of consistency, waste can be classified into three major types: solid waste, liquid waste, and gaseous waste. On the basis of source, waste can be classified as industrial waste, urban or municipal waste, rural and agricultural waste. As defined by the World Health Organization, the term municipal solid waste is applied to unwanted and discarded materials from houses, street sweepings, commercial and agricultural operations arising out of mass activities. It is a mixture of vegetable and non-vegetable wastes in cooked and uncooked stages, leftovers, packaging of different kinds, paper, plastics, glass, metal, rags and other fabrics, dust, ash, and a variety of combustible and non combustible, biodegradable, and non biodegradable matter. These materials are commonly called as garbage, trash, or refuse. Solid waste also includes tree cuttings and garden refuse, but does not include construction debris. In other words, we can say that municipal solid waste is a product of city metabolism. As defined by the World Health Organization, the term municipal solid waste is applied to unwanted and discarded materials from houses, street sweepings, commercial and agricultural operations arising out of mass activities. It is a mixture of vegetable and non-vegetable wastes in cooked and uncooked stages, leftovers, packaging of different kinds, paper, plastics, glass, metal, rags and other fabrics, dust, ash, and a variety of combustible and non-combustible, biodegradable and non-biodegradable matter. These materials are commonly called as garbage, trash, or refuse. Solid waste also includes tree cuttings and garden refuse, but does not include construction debris. In other words, we can say that municipal solid waste is a product of city metabolism. On the basis of origin, source, and class, municipal solid waste is categorized as domestic or household refuse, market refuse, business area waste, trade refuse, hospital waste, road sweeping, garden refuse, cattle shed and stable refuse, road construction rubbish, and construction rubbish. Domestic or household refuse. This includes kitchen waste, plastics, paper, rags, and other solids discarded from household activities. Market refuse. This includes fruits, vegetables, animal and fish matter, packaging materials, etc. Business area waste. Cigarette and beedi butts, matchsticks, fruit peelings, paper, paper plates, tickets, carbon paper, etc. come in this category. Trade refuse. Cloth cuttings, refuse from garages, car repairings, etc. constitute trade refuse. Hospital waste. Hospital waste is considered a hazardous waste and dealt with separately under the modern management system, even though at times it is also included in municipal solid waste. Used needles, ampules, syringes, bottles, cotton, gauze, plaster, bandages, etc. constitute the hospital waste that tends to be considered as a part of municipal solid waste. In developed countries, hospital waste is segregated at source into plastic bags of different colors. Generally, black bags contain non-infectious waste, while yellow or red bags are used for infectious waste. Waste is then disposed separately according to the category. In most developing countries, including India, hospital waste is neither segregated nor disposed of properly. In almost all towns and cities of our country, hospital waste is collected in one corner of the hospital campus and then burnt without segregation. Many small hospitals dump their waste into municipal bins. This hazardous waste is a big source of infection if not handled carefully, and often causes hazards to the people who are involved in collection and segregation of waste. Road sweepings. Leaves, paper, plastic, dust, animal and human waste, etc., which need to be swept off the roads, come under this category. Garden refuse. This includes leaves, branches, broken pots, stones, etc. Cattle shed and stable refuse. Animal waste and litter comprise this category. Construction rubbish. Bricks, plaster, concrete, iron pieces, plumbing waste, electric wires, sand, etc. are all constituents of construction rubbish. Millions of tons of solid waste are generated every year in our towns and cities. The quantity of municipal solid waste produced in rural and urban areas of India ranges between 0.15 kilos to 0.45 kilos per person per day, depending on the standard of living, dietary habits, etc. In major metropolitan cities, it may rise to approximately zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 kilos per person per day. In developed countries such as the United States, Canada, Europe, and Japan, between 1 to 2 kilos of waste is produced per capita per day. According to the Environment Protection Agency of the United States, in 2003, the US alone had generated more than 236 million metric tons of municipal solid waste. Municipal solid waste, especially from domestic and commercial areas, contains recyclables like paper, plastics, rubber, metal, and glass. Toxic substances like paints, pesticides, aerosols, used batteries, medicines, etc. Compostable organic matter like food leftovers, fruit and vegetable peels, spoiled food or fecal matter, etc. And soiled waste like blood-stained cotton, sanitary napkins, disposable syringes, nappies, used drips, etc. In most Indian cities, decomposable organic matter is the highest component of municipal solid waste. When left uncleared, this component of solid waste starts decomposing, emits bad odor, and also causes the breeding and proliferation of undesirable and disease-causing microorganisms. It makes the municipal solid waste wet and has a low calorific value of less than 2000 kilocalories per kilogram. In developed countries, the major portion of municipal solid waste is dry and recyclable. As a result, it is reduced through processes like recycling and incineration. In 1995, Japan recycled 50% of its municipal solid waste and incinerated 25% of it. On the other hand, in the same year, the United States recycled only 25%, incinerated less than 20%, and dumped 60% waste in landfills.
In any ecosystem, bodies of dead organisms are broken down into less complex compounds which can be used again in nature's biogeochemical cycles. This is achieved by various chemical processes brought about by microorganisms which oxidize compounds of carbon. This biological decomposition of dead organisms produces carbon dioxide and releases various mineral salts into the environment. As per an estimate, approximately 2 to 3,000 million tons of carbon is released into the atmosphere each year due to decomposition on the surface of the earth. This natural cycle is disturbed due to human activities. Our species has learned to transform natural compounds and synthesize new substances which cannot exist in the environment. As a result of modernization and development, we generate heaps of refuse which cannot be reintroduced into nature's biogeochemical cycles. As a civilization keeps on becoming more and more advanced industrially and technologically, the quantity of refuse generated per person also keeps on increasing. The major proportion of this refuse is not biodegradable. Naturally, contamination occurs when decomposition and recycling fail to take place. Now, the need is to understand our role in this biosphere is to manage natural resources, that is, to use and construct as per the very laws and spirit of this biosphere.
The process of decomposition or degradation, or the presence of many residual artificial products, can affect the quality of our soil, water, and air. Many of these compounds, which are solvents, paints, batteries, pesticides, etc., are highly toxic and cause damage to our body. For example, the presence of heavy metals or dioxin compounds is especially dangerous. These toxic elements and compounds build up in the soil and water, enter into various food chains, and accumulate in the body of higher organisms, including humans, thus threatening our very existence.
With increasing population, migration, and rising standard of living, the problem of solid waste management is attaining larger and more complex dimensions. To solve this problem, we need an integrated management system, proper policies, rules and regulations, and technologies. The first step towards solving this problem is to realize that we overconsume and get attracted towards anything that is new. We should look for and accept concepts like durability and easy repair and maintenance of the instruments that we use. The rule of the R's should also be followed to take care of solid waste, that is, to recover, recycle, reuse, repair, and reduce. This rule of the R's should begin at the very moment we choose a consumer article. Minimum packaging should be used. The use of raw material should be more efficient. The article should be durable and repairable, and the article should also be recyclable after its use. And of course, the information about its recyclability should be available to us. In this way, we can reduce wastage at the very source. If all these precautions are taken by us in our day-to-day life, they will be of great help in reducing and managing waste.